Hello, my name is Robin Hoyle. I'm the Head of Learning Innovation at Hustwaite International. I'm also the Chair of the World of Learning Conference, and in 2017 at that conference I was asked to deliver the closing keynote on the subject of creating an effective learning environment. Over a sequence of 4 short videos I'm going to run through that presentation so that there is a record for people and you can look at it in short pieces. So creating an effective learning environment is a bit of a strange title to be given for a presentation in 2017. A few years ago it would have been easy. We'd have been talking about where the chairs go in relation to the PowerPoint presentation and the flip chart stand. But now we recognise that learning could happen anywhere. We recognise that it's certainly no longer the preserve of the Learning and Development Department, and it doesn't just happen in classrooms. So if we're going to create an effective environment for this new way of learning as part and parcel of the work that we do, we better understand that first question that I asked the audience, which is, well, what is learning? And it's very interesting when I ask this question of an audience how many times I get a kind of slightly embarrassed reaction. People find their knees extraordinarily interesting, and then a few timorous hands arise and people will talk about gathering new knowledge or memorizing new facts, or they may talk about even building a few skills, but fundamentally there's no clear understanding of precisely what we're talking about when we describe learning, and particularly when we describe learning in organizations. I think it's real helpful to have a clear definition, and this is mine. Acquiring new knowledge, behaviours, skills, values or preferences. So the knowledge and skills piece people probably would get there. Behaviours people find a little bit more difficult because changing behaviour is something which individuals need to do on their own. We can't do it for them. But when we get into values and preferences, people are quite surprised that it's there at all. This idea that our attitudes to things, what we believe in, what we prefer, what we like and don't like, is really informed by learning, and in itself informs what we learn and how we interpret and apply what we learn. So it seems to me to be particularly important. Notice also that we've got the words modifying existing in there. We know that when we're talking about individuals, particularly grown-ups, we're not really talking about people who've got nothing that they know about a particular subject. We're talking about people who've got a life experience, and sometimes we need to unlearn. We need to help people reject those things which are no longer relevant. Very often though, what we're doing is building on the existing skills that people have got. So if you did an accountancy qualification some years ago, you would have developed the skills of double entry bookkeeping in a large ledger, and these days nobody uses the ledgers, do they? But actually being able to add on to those skills of double entry bookkeeping the ability to use an Excel spreadsheet, for example, would be a really useful skill. So sometimes when we're modifying, we're building on the solid foundations that we already have. And it's important that we recognise that people already know some things about the subjects that we're talking about and build on those things that they have, but also challenge those things which are no longer fit for purpose. So when we talk about corporate learning, what do we mean? Is it the same stuff? Well, again, the audience sometimes looks a little embarrassed and tries not to catch the presenter's eye, but fundamentally, of course, learning is learning. So it is the same. It is still about acquiring new or modifying existing knowledge, behaviour, skills, values and preferences, but now we're talking about defined by organisational need. So I may want to learn about how to be a fantastic flower arranger, but unless my business is floristry, that's not defined by any organisational need. That's just my personal interest. When we're talking about organisational need, we're talking about the strategic direction of the organisation. We're talking about the skills and the capabilities that the organisation will need now and at some point in the future if they are to achieve their strategic goals. We're talking about some kind of gap analysis about the skills that people have and the skills that they will need if the new world order that we expect our strategy to be fit for comes to pass. We're also talking about how we may fulfill our role in society. So we're talking about what the organisation's job is, whether or not it's providing public services or making profits or enabling people to achieve great things. Then fundamentally we need to be aligned with that goal. And those knowledge, behaviours, skills, values and preferences that we need to gather should in turn be defined by that strategic mission. We'll be talking about the rest of this presentation over the course of 3 additional videos, but can I thank you for watching and listening to this presentation, and I hope you'll check out the others.